Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's show, Duane Toews visits with Jon Doggett, the CEO of the National Corn Growers Association. Then it's this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Kyle Bauer talks with Polly Ruhland, who's with the United Soybean Board, about supply and demand in the soy industry. Then we bring you this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update, and finally, it's Plain Talk with Kyle and Duane. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Duane Toews and Jon Doggett talk about recent challenges and the importance of the Farm Bill.
Duane Toews joining you once again on Ag AM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with Jon Doggett with the National Corn Growers Association. Jon, we think about the growing season, the fall of the year, harvest upon us. Some guys certainly having more luck than others on getting that crop out, but our growers have done an outstanding job of putting a big crop in the bin once again this year by and large.
Well, and that's the good news, and that's the bad news. Is it's good news for individual farmers, but for the price for the overall industry, it makes it pretty tough.
We think about the last couple of years, we've been blessed in a lot of parts of the country with pretty good moisture to have that kind of a bumper crop, if you will. That brings about the need for increased domestic and export opportunities as well, and we've kind of had some struggles in both regards this year.
Well, we have, and certainly on the international front, we've been fortunate that the NAFTA deal has been put back together, and that market down in Mexico, the biggest market we have, will continue to be a good market for us. But we have issues around the country with tariffs and other restrictions, so we need to move beyond where we're at, for all of our products, not just corn, but ethanol, DDGs, corn in the form of pork and beef and poultry and dairy products. We've got a lot of work to do.
The positive side or upside is, particularly on those the product side, ethanol and DDGs, it's a product that's sought out worldwide because they like the quality that we have here. Unfortunately, they don't always like our price point, but we really don't want to be the low-cost producer.
Well, and when that price point is affected by significant tariffs, for instance, 75% tariff on ethanol going into China pretty much destroyed that market. So, we've got to find the price point that works, and we need to do it in a free market system.
Other issues, obviously, we're in limbo a bit on Farm Bill discussions. Post-election, we may see some progress now in that regard.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, we are at historically low prices for all commodities across the country. We need to get a Farm Bill done. There's no reason for us to have gone past the expiration date of the current bill. We need to get this bill done. Talking about moving it to next year is it's crazy. We need to get a Farm Bill done.
Well, and there's also those that talk about an extension, kicking the can down the road is what a lot of people would call that, and that's not necessarily good either.
Well, the question is, why can't they get a Farm Bill done? We need to get a Farm Bill done. We send members of Congress to get things done, to work in the best interest of the country. Obviously, when agriculture is hurting so bad, why are we not done with the Farm Bill?
Final thoughts and other issues that NCGA has been aware of and working on producers' behalf?
Well, certainly, we are dealing with a sustainability issue. A lot of people say, well, what's the definition of sustainability? We think agriculture needs to define its own sustainability rather than have consumers or companies that sell directly to consumers define what sustainability is. So we're working on a number of different fronts to make sure we have a good definition that works for agriculture.
Our thanks to Jon Doggett, NCGA, joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Stay tuned here to Farm Factor for this week's Kansas Soybean Update. It's coming up next.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Teresa Brandenburg, an Osborne County producer and also serves as first vice president of the Kansas Soybean Association, joins us. And she also is the chair of the Kansas Soybean Expo Committee. Teresa, we've just gotten finished with the Kansas Soybean Expo, and the one for 2019 is in the books.
Yes, I cannot hardly believe that we're saying that, but 2019 Soybean Expo is wrapping up. We had a great day here in Topeka. We were joined by producers from all across the state. We had a fun time just sharing that camaraderie that farmers have. We laughed a little bit, we shared some success stories, and we learned a lot of great information.
This is also not only good as far as awards, but research is also important as well to hear the latest from Kansas State University.
Most people don't possibly know that the Soybean Checkoff actually funds a lot of soybean research. So you're benefiting from those checkoff dollars because you benefit from all that research. So you can come to something like the Kansas Soybean Expo and hear what those researchers are doing to really push the envelope as far as genetics and weed technologies and those kinds of things. And we were really thankful to hear from those folks.
Especially for that everyday operation and knowing planting season's not that far away.
Yeah, we're coming right up on it, and we're just praying that Mother Nature cooperates this year.
Also a chance to recognize several producers, awards for the Value and Yield Contest.
Yes, we had our yield contest results. We did break 100 bushels again this year. We broke our new record. I believe it was 104 point something bushels this year, so we're really excited to see that envelope just being pushed a little bit. We know that soybean genetics are improving. We know that we as farmers are getting smarter. We're getting savvier every year, and we're really trying to be good stewards of the land and make a living for our families, so it's fun to see that.
Teresa, you also had a great keynote speaker from the Farmer's Almanac.
Bob Farmer from Farmer's Almanac joined us, and we had a great time. Everybody was laughing, and we know that even when things are tough, if you can laugh, that's a great day. So we were happy to have him, and it was a really fun, entertaining speech from Bob Farmer today.
There's so many unknowns right now, trade being one. We've got the Farm Bill to implement, but we also have the government shutdown as well.
And that's one of those reasons that organizations like the Kansas Soybean Association are so important. The Commission's funding research. The association is going to D.C. We're going to Topeka. We're fighting for the interests of our farmers. So those membership dues, those dollars are supporting volunteer farmers who are fighting the good fight to really help the legislative end of our business go the way we need it to go.
That is Teresa Brandenburg, first vice president of the Kansas Soybean Association, as well as serves as chair of the Kansas Soybean Expo Committee. She joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Kyle Bauer and Polly Ruhland with the United Soybean Board.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
Kim Mandarin with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn about soybean supply and demand with Kyle Bauer and Polly Ruhland.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I have the opportunity to visit with Polly Ruhland. She's with the United Soybean Board, and of course they direct the soybean checkoff nationwide. There's a lot of challenges right now, Polly, with soybeans, getting them harvested, getting them sold, large supplies. It's a lot of challenges for your part of the business.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on right now. The tariffs probably being top of mind for most farmers. But it's been a rough growing year. And there are some parts of the country that are doing really well, have great yields. There are some parts of the country that are still in the fields trying to get the beans out of the field. And we have a lot of damage from rain, from flooding. So it's a tough year to be a soybean farmer. And but I do think that this is the kind of year, the kind of atmosphere where the checkoff shines.
Well, truly, to do that alone, if you're a producer that didn't have someone, if you will, fighting alongside all the other soybean producers for all these challenges, it would be overwhelming.
It would be. I think I always talk about the demand side of the equation. So we've talked just now about the supply side, about the challenges, about prices and tariffs and a lot of soybeans, just a lot of soybeans. Record year, most acres planted this year of soybeans ever. But we got to talk about when we're part of the checkoff program, we need to talk about the demand side, because healthy demand means healthy supply. We keep those beans moving through the pipeline. So at the checkoff program, we are interested in healthy demand for soybeans. And the best thing about soybeans, I call them the magic bean, because in the soybean business, we can do food, feed, fuel, and fiber all with one product. So we focus on all those areas in the checkoff program.
And truly, at different times in the history of the soybean, those different aspects has driven the market.
You bet. So the fuel, when we lost some of the market on edible oils, the biodiesel market took up that slack. So that's the fuel side. Right now, we're looking at big supply tariff situation is taking China away from us. So we're doing two strategies to help move beans now and in the future, regardless of what happens with China. And those two things are to focus on new uses for soybeans and things like surfactants and adhesives and paint and carpet and all those areas that the magic bean can play a role. And we're also trying to diversify our portfolio away from necessarily the more traditional soybean markets overseas and build up infrastructure and markets in more basic markets. For example, India, that has an enormous potential for U.S. soy and has that ROI potential longer term than perhaps the more mature markets.
And truly, all of that is funded by U.S. soybean producers.
Truly, it's. I think the checkoffs are so important. Not just the soy checkoff, but all the checkoffs are so important because they were started to mind the side of the supply chain that farmers aren't the experts at. So farmers are the experts at supply. We need to be working on behalf of farmers. We need to be the experts at demand pull. And the farmers that lead United Soybean Board realize that, and they are very focused, increasingly focused on the demand side of the equation.
We're visiting with Polly Ruhland. She is with the United Soybean Board. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses in rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery, and so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously. So I'm tickled to death with the results, and I'd recommend this process to anyone.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Today on our Kansas Farm Bureau update, meet the Jaden family, one of 10 families honored to be named a Kansas Farm Bureau Farm Family of the Year.
Max and Ann Jaden operate a farm in Sedgwick County. Following in the footsteps of Max's father, they have grown the operation to 1,400 acres and raise wheat, soybeans, corn, and milo. In 1999, the family switched to 100% no-till. They now hay 50 or more acres of native grass through the NRCS. Max currently serves on the Sedgwick County Farm Bureau Board and has served in many roles, including president. Both Ann and Max participated in the Leeds Presidential Conference, hosted in Washington, D.C., and have attended every American Farm Bureau Federation annual meeting since 2014. The couple is active in their community, helping to establish the Clearwater Evangelical Free Church in 1986. Max has coached and officiated youth soccer through the American Youth Soccer Organization, and Ann has served on the Clearwater Recreation Commission. Max believes government must support farmers and ranchers so they can produce and move products around the world. He believes Kansas Farm Bureau is helping to gain that support.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
I'm Derek Sawyer, and I'm a fourth-generation Kansas farmer. I've known all my life I wanted to farm this land near McPherson, which was my grandfather's before me.
I'm Katie Sawyer, a journalist who never dreamed I'd live my life on the farm until I met Derek.
We've married our worlds to help educate consumers about the rural lifestyle and all that farmers do to provide safe and affordable food.
Watch our story and the stories of other young Kansas food producers at kansaslivingmagazine.com/meetafarmer.
Tarwater Farm and Home is a 40-year-old local family-owned business. Clothing for work and play, seeds and feeds, boots, toys for the kids, and tools you'll need for around the house and farm. And a service department to keep them in top running order. It's a big store, so take some time to see what they have for your farm and home. Tarwater's everyday pricing is like others' sale prices. When you need it, they've got it. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard. This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to today on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with Duane One Pen Toews.
Well, I don't see the point in having two.
I know.
It's not like I write any checks. The only thing I write is... Well, I really don't write much of anything.
You can't write at all.
No.
You know, well, they say that on your desk you should have one pen.
Really?
That way you always know where it is.
Oh.
I literally have a dozen, if not more.
Well, if you lose that one, then what do? You just sit there and twiddle.
Well, I swear I lose.
Sit there and twiddle my thumb.
I just called Duane to write for me. I said, Duane, can you come down here and write something down?
Actually, I write more than I type.
Well,
maybe that's because I learned how to write and not.
I've
not
never
type.
seen anyone your age that can get a blister by typing because his two fingers in
fingers
the middle.
get sore. I tell you what's worse, around the office here, we have some people that are like really good at it.
That's bad.
And they're just working away on there, and they rub the letters off the keyboard.
Yep.
Yeah, well, then take somebody like me that has to look at that keyboard and hunt around to find what he wants to do. It's kind of a problem.
I was somewhere the other day that I had to enter numbers, and some smart aleck, it was in a public place, had scratched the numbers off. I know, it was a phone keypad. Why would I have had a public phone? Do they even make those anymore?
Well,
but anyway, it was like they had scratched the numbers off of them, and I had to pull my phone out and look at where they were.
It's like, you ever drove a 5-speed before, boy?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to look at the knob on the shifter.
So have you ever driven a 3 on the column?
Yes. One of the most favorite vehicles of all time.
You're kidding.
We had a Chevrolet 19, I don't know what, gold-colored pickup at the ag shop in Mound Ridge, Kansas.
That's where I learned to drive the ag shop, but it was my ag teacher that had an old Dodge pickup.
Well, I don't know whether this was his and he loaned it to the department or not. It was the school's truck.
Uh-huh.
Statute of limitations has gone well past now, so...
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Senior in high school, I was an aide for ag class, and I had gone up to the hardware store and bought some needed materials for someone on their project. And I'm coming back to school in the said pickup, and well, there was this dead end street that dead ended into the city park, and there was kind of gravel there, and that 3 on the tree was really kind of fun to drive. And so I was going to power slide it around that corner. I slid it all right.
Was there a barricade at the end of the street?
Well, there was kind of at one point there was kind of a cable of which I might have drove over as I slid sideways into the park. Slammed her back in first, drove up out of the crater and back onto the street and around the corner to the
Never
ag
did
shop.
Tell the ag teacher anyone how that big scratch got down the side.
Actually, I looked. I didn't. There was no damage to the truck. The cable might have hung a little looser than it used to there at the edge of the park.
Well, our claim to fame is we were hauling tables for ag down to the armory, and we had like 8 of them in the back of the pickup stacked up there, hauling them down there, 3 of us. I remember who they were, but I will let them
You're gonna protect the
remain
innocent?
innocent. And I was not driving, but it doesn't matter. I would have done the same thing. Light changed right there by the post office.
Sure.
Hit the accelerator, and they unloaded just like dominoes right across that intersection. 8 of them just the entire width of that intersection.
Fanned them out like
you never
were playing
seen
cards.
3 guys run and pick up tables as fast, and they're your life.
We'll finish with your fact or fiction because we hadn't got to it yet today.
There's not enough time. You got to catch me next time. It's not like you get paid to stump me.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.